What began to happen on these bathroom excursions is that whatever character had come through in the session was still present in Claire's body, would start making comments about this bathroom experience. They, in brackets, through Claire's body, would marvel at things like the toilet paper, stroking it and examining it, for this was not something they held in their time. We finally figured out that word was spreading through the ranks of particularly the female characters coming through. They all wanted to have this experience of the excursion to the bathroom in Claire's world. I just think that is so funny. Hi, and welcome to Empowered Spirit Healing. My name is Paula, and today I am starting a new book, but I am continuing on with the series because if you have not already watched, I will link up the top that I've just finished reading Anna, Grandmother of Jesus, which was just such a fascinating read and a bit of an emotional read as well. There was just so much to unpack, so much that happened. I think it's the kind of book that you probably need to listen to a few times just to fully absorb everything that Anna went through, everything that Yeshua, Mother Mary, Mary Magdalene, and just everybody. It was just really quite intense, but it was fascinating learning all about the initiations that took place and all of the things that they went through in order for the crucifixion to happen. It was not quite what the Bible said at all. It was actually quite different. I guess there's just a lot more depth to it. With the Bible, you're just getting such a brief little story and you're not fully understanding everything that went into the process of that. Now we're going to be continuing on with Anna, the voice of the Magdalenes. And I'm really, really excited to read this because I've only read a little bit of this book. I think I've only read the first few chapters, so I don't actually know everything that happens in this book. So I'm going to be on this journey with you. And I was kind of on this journey with everybody reading the Anna book because it'd been a couple of years since I had listened to that book, because I first listened to it on Audible quite a few years ago. And I think it was about 3 years ago that I listened to it. So when I was reading through the book with you all, I was remembering things and also things that I didn't even notice the first time. And that's the magic of reading things. Repetition is the next time you watch a movie or the next time you read a book, you discover so much more that you didn't realize before. So I'm really excited to get into this book and to share more of these incredible secrets with you. Thank you very much to Claire Heartsong for all of her incredible hard work, channeling, connecting with Anna and channeling all of this information. And also with this book, we also have Catherine and Clemett, who has also worked on this book with Claire Heartsong. So they both authored this together, whereas the first one was just Claire Heartsong. And Catherine and Clemett has quite a few other really fascinating books as well. And I would like to read a couple of her books next. One being Are You a Magdalene? And the other one is about the twin flame union, which is between Saint Germain and his twin flame Portia. So I'm really excited to read them to you as well. But let's get into this book. There's a beautiful picture by Claire Heartsong, which might be a little bit hard for you to see because of the lights. There we go, that seems to work a little bit better. Anna as Rosa Mystica by Claire Heartsong. And this book is dedicated to you in oneness. Well, I think that's just beautiful. So we're going to start with laying the foundation. We're starting with Archangel Gabriel's Invocation. I bring you glad tidings from the realms of light. I am the one you know as Gabriel. I come from on high as an overlighting presence to assist you in the delivery of this work unto the earth plane. I come forth into this space to assist the minds and hearts of many beings so that these words and awakening energies may be received in a manner that truly uplifts and empowers. I also bring greetings, as is appropriate from time to time, from the archangelic councils of light and all other hosts who bring support to the continued unfolding of this work. I walk with you in this your day as I have walked with you in seasons past. May all beings remember the way of love and oneness. I am Gabrielle. I bid you fond farewell. So that's a beautiful message from the Archangel Gabriel. Next is Aspirations, which looks like a beautiful poem or prayer. So I would like to read that to you as well. May the shroud covering and silencing the Christ and Magdalene be gently but surely removed in the ripeness of time from both husband and bride, historical, mythical, and essential being. May all who have safeguarded the Christ Magdalene legacy find sweet rest and relax the sore tension of holding secret oaths and martyrs' deaths. May the Magdalene's mysteries shared herein awaken and liberate the Christ entombed within every breast. May her/his voice be clearly received and dissolve boundaries of gender and creed. May wars fought in their name end and fade forever from memory. She, he, and their coded DNA live on in every incarnation. Humanity is their bloodline. May we awaken to the equanimity and truth of the oneness we all share. Embracing and nurturing the living, Christ Magdalene in self and other. Let us be awake in our dream. May all suffering cease. May we hear the voice within the voices of those who proclaim the great peace. May this book serve as a portal into the beloved's infinite embrace, in mystical union beyond Avalon's farther shore. Let us be graced. Amen and amen. Now I would like to read to you Claire's introduction. She wrote this in January 2010. 12 years have passed since first receiving Anna's messages, which evolved into the book Anna, Grandmother of Jesus, first published in the autumn of 2002. A promise was made then to bring forth a sequel. I am choosing to make good on that promise, and I'm so glad that she did. Although I originally thought this material would manifest in the same way as with the first book, it has taken a different course. My intention is that these words of introduction assist you to come to this offering with a fresh perspective and perhaps fewer expectations because of your previous experiences with Anna. My journey with Anna has evolved in experiences in which I have felt as if I were in her skin, seeing, hearing, feeling, smelling, tasting, thinking, and emotions as she might have in her time and space. So that's really incredible. So she literally, when she was channeling Anna, she literally was like embodying Anna and experiencing everything as she did, which would be a very interesting experience. Those experiences of oneness were both rapturously blissful and intensely demanding. This has also been true in my experience as I have brought forth this sequel material. In the physical sense, my earlier, very intimate journey with Anna was a solitary process. That is, if you were the proverbial fly on the wall, you would have seen me alone typing at my computer. If you had ears to hear beyond the physical plane, you may have heard Anna and her team of interdimensional beings. I call them my council of light, in telepathic communication among themselves and with me. You might also have discerned a kind of holographic energy grid enveloping me, which made it possible to fulfill my work as Anna's scribe. In order to utilize the holographic grid effectively, the councils carefully instructed me in how to align my frequency and consciousness through conscious breathing, visualization, and mantra practices. This assisted me to receive the messages and energy transmissions in clarity. With practice, I began to trust my capacity to fulfill my assignment. I trusted Anna to support me through the process of healing and clearing the karmic cellular and soul memory that was profoundly activated by her story. Acknowledging my humanity, I was and still am willing to be accountable for any unintentional errors and misinformation that may occur because of my many ego filters and limited view. I think, that's pretty standard with any kind of channel. Even being a psychic, being able to receive any kinds of messages, it's always coming through the filter of our ego, our past experiences, our subconscious mind. And so there's always going to be some things that might be a little bit distorted or inaccurate. But that's why it's good to read a wide range of information, a wide range of different channelings, and also scientific information and various different people, so that you can kind of put everything together. That's what I like to do. I like to keep a really open mind, explore all different kinds of work, and then kind of put together what makes sense to me and what resonates with me, and see what matches up where. Inseparable from trusting myself, I found Anna as my information source to consistently possess not only a great lucid wisdom, but also a comforting, unconditional compassion towards all beings. This same level of higher awareness and intention extends throughout this book. It is also to be noted here that Anna is no longer my primary information source in the sequel. However, the source remains the same. Once Anna, Grandmother of Jesus, was published, I knew I had enough of feeling. Once Anna, Grandmother of Jesus, was published, I knew I had had enough of feeling like a sequestered monk in a monastic cell. I very firmly requested Anna and my Council of Light to send me a physical support team. I'll always remember the blessed day when I received emails from CW, who wishes to remain anonymous, and Catherine Ann Clemett in response to my website plea for assistance. As it turned out, it was not just for the purpose of assuaging my loneliness that they left their homes and came to my aid. It soon became abundantly clear that their active involvement in the actual transmission process was required. One morning in early June 2006, I sat before my computer. A blank document awaited my first keystroke. I prepared myself with the usual alignment protocol. I enjoyed a sense of confidence, albeit I also felt a concomitant feeling of intimidation, overwhelmed, and self-doubt at being able to accomplish what was being asked of me. With a sense of deep devotional commitment to what feels to be a calling from on high, and with the palpable presence of my physical support team waiting just outside the closed door, I felt sufficiently supported to commence. The writing began. The first two chapters, called A New Life and Our Journey to to the new Mount Carmel took days to write. I was disappointed to find the words feeling flat and laboured. In spite of the alignment process, there seemed to be too much of my discursive mind present, as if I were writing a historical novel. There wasn't enough of Anna's consciousness piercing my intellectual veil as I had grown accustomed to in my past experiences as her scribe. What was I to do? Then I heard Anna telling me I would find the answer to the dilemma just beyond the closed door. Following her guidance, I asked Catherine Ann, a certified hypnotherapist, if she would be willing to facilitate as a past life regression coach. Although I knew I didn't require her to take me into a more expanded brain state, it became apparent that Anna had something in mind that involved our threefold group synergy. Without hesitation, we entered into the process. I found it easy to relax on the couch as soon as I was reassured that the tape recorder would provide accurate transcriptions. What a relief to not be typing at the computer. Lying back on my comfortable couch, Catherine Ann took her place beside me. She asked inspired questions and operated the recording equipment. CW held space at my feet and transcribed voluminous audio cassettes. Everything came together for a very effective and dynamic interactive process. Within a very short time, it became possible to expand Anna's narrative by directly dialoguing with 19 different men and women, including Anna, all intimately involved in the Christ drama. We witnessed and heard voices that had been silenced for millennia. So exciting. I had known for years that other characters in the Anna story wanted to share their personal messages. I also knew there were readers who would feel a resonance with certain of these characters, and that by reading the Magdalene story, the reader could potentially experience healing and a greater awakening in this lifetime. As if on cue, within days of Anna introducing herself through this new protocol, numerous friends and members of Anna's family began stepping through the veil of time. As we met both familiar and new personalities, heard their words, and felt their often emotionally charged vocal intonations, we realized that the sequel's messages could put a light on new information that had been overlooked by many researchers, historical and psychic. Not only would it serve to fill in some sizable blanks, but it would bring suppressed material thought to be heretical by orthodoxy forward to be consciously contemplated. I just have to share here. I absolutely love hypnosis. I know that hypnosis can be used for good and bad. And I know that the government has used hypnosis in some really bad ways and done some really bad things. But on the side of light, which is what I'm all about, hypnosis is incredible. It gives us details that you just can't get otherwise. And having past life regressions are absolutely fascinating, not to mention also very healing. I myself have had a couple of past life regressions, and one of them being a quantum healing hypnosis technique, which is what I studied with Dolores Cannon. I unfortunately did not get to meet her. I didn't even hear about her until after she'd passed away, but I did the online version, which shares all of her recordings and her doing the teachings. And it's just absolutely fascinating. And I think hypnosis is just so powerful because you can really understand. Like, I love history. I love learning about history. But if we just only go off the records that we have, which is very, very important, we need to go off them, but you're only getting part of the picture. But when somebody goes into hypnosis, they literally go back to that time and can see and feel everything. I mean, when I went back and had my past life, I could literally, I started bawling my eyes out as soon as I started, because I was this guy on this ship, on this warship, and I was fighting in war and I hated war. And I just, yeah, it was very emotional for me. And, my hypnotherapist had to move me forward to other things, to later on in that life to understand more of who I was and everything. I won't bore you with that, but it's just, you really feel everything. You can see so many things, and you get to experience all the little details that just can't possibly be put into records. Because, my goodness, if somebody was to explain all of that in records, there would just be so many scrolls and there would be so many books. It would fill up too much. It's too much information. So using the information that we have from the people that have written, and thank goodness to them for working their butts off and writing and recording things from history, and then using hypnosis to fill in the blanks, like Claire and Catherine and CW are doing together in this book, just gives us all that extra information, and it's so invaluable. And of course, yes, there's going to be some distortions. Some things might not be 100% correct. You have to take things with a grain of salt. But hey, all our written history isn't 100% correct either, because that was all written by somebody and their perspective. So it's kind of a catch-22. You're going to get that with anything and everything. But yeah, anyways, I will continue on. But I just wanted to share, like, hypnosis is really powerful. When it's used for the good, it is amazing as a tool to understand our history, our past lives, and also for healing. We immediately realized that if I had insisted on accessing the messages in the way I had done previously, we would have missed a great deal of hidden treasure. We were stunned by the exquisite beauty and pathos, the palpable energy, and the magnitude of the startling secrets that were revealed. Our work poured forth in torrents for almost 6 weeks and then it abruptly stopped. For reasons that will become obvious to you as you read the forthcoming chapters, I felt deeply conflicted about making the heretical revelations public. Whether fact or fiction, I personally cannot prove or disprove the accuracy of the stories that were presented through me. I simply had the experiences and was a witness to the process. It was not my intention to compose fiction, and I do not believe that was the case with the Magdalenes, whose stories you will read. It will be for each reader to decide what rings true for them. Absolutely. Use your discernment at all times for everything. Whether the details can ever be proved correct or not is another matter. As always, the Anna material is multi-leveled, and I believe its real purpose serves the awakening of consciousness rather than merely acting as a conjectured history or as entertainment. Absolutely. As you're reading through these books, you might start activating memories of your past lives and different things that have happened to you, and that is very powerful. It took 2 more years to finally come to a place of sufficient eternal equilibrium and clarity to pick up the voice of the Magdalenes transcripts and determine if the content had any real value as a spiritual teaching vehicle. I asked myself if the material was in sufficient alignment with authentic spiritual realms of higher consciousness, so as to actually transmit life-enhancing wisdom and quickening energies. In brackets, I know this is true with the first Anna book. Although the sequel material was different, I determined there was enough alignment with higher consciousness to proceed. I then looked deeply within to see if I were up to the task of publishing another book. If I were up to dealing with the consequences of making this controversial material available to a public audience. The answers to this self-inquiry were in the affirmative. Catherine Ann and I had devoted many hours during 2009 to bringing the fragmented contents of the original transcripts to a level in which it might be read with a degree of ease and lucidity. It might be noted here that the sequence of the sequel chapters is not in the order in which the characters originally spoke. Anna continues to be our principal guide through this material. She understands that you will likely have many questions along the way. She desires you to know that you are not alone and that she is readily accessible once you attune to her frequency in a space of love and gratitude. And to be honest, since I read the first Anna book, the 3 years ago, or however long it was about 3.5 years ago, I do feel like Anna is with me, as well as Mary Magdalene and Mother Mary, and Yeshua, of course. So yeah, you might start to feel that too as things are awakened in you from reading through this book. With her expansive view, she can assist you in your personal journey, traversing what may be a confusing and mystifying terrain. Anna speaks with a clarion voice for the Divine Mother and the councils of light, whose unified consciousness extends beyond all time and space. Besides the Magdalene accounts, which span many lands over a rather long period of time, Anna's personal story takes us to her experiences in southern France and her beloved Avalon in Britain, where she reveals her last years on the earth plane. Anna has asked me to act as a present day interpreter who, while acknowledging my human limitations, bridges and weaves the numerous voices and settings of then and now. You will find throughout that I have provided contextual information for your contemplation. Anecdotal accounts of personal events that occurred during this remarkable process are also shared. Charts and maps are enclosed with the intention that they provide you with a way to organize and make sense of the complex array of voices, interrelated beings speaking across a considerable timeline and geography. In order to expedite this material getting to you, I have intentionally chosen not to give the same amount of time to the writing process as I did the first book. Please forgive omissions and editorial errors. Catherine, Anne, and I have done our best to bring many disjointed fragments together into as cohesive as presentation as possible. We believe what is given, although perhaps still incomplete in many ways, is still a sufficient catalyst that may serve you and your personal purpose for taking this journey with Anna and the Magdalenes. We continue to contemplate and question the information that you are about to read. We encourage you to do likewise. Test it within your own mind and heart. There are controversial aspects of the stories that will likely be misunderstood. This gives me concern, so I breathe and I let go. I continue to trust in the ultimate outcome, which I have stated in the affirmations preceding my introduction. We humbly and gratefully lay it all at your feet, affirming you will transform anything that is potentially harmful into the light of wisdom within the stillness of a clear mind and an open heart. Perhaps much that is offered is best left to simply abide in the mysterious realm. Don't know. And for all that has been given, may we rest in gratitude. Anna, the voice of the Magdalenes, ushers us across yet another threshold of understanding into a greater awakening. There is an urgency to make the most of the time given to us while in this precious human birth. May we meet beyond all fears and walk together arm in arm through the mists of Avalon. May we meet in the pure land where polarity and paradox embrace as the infinite one. May we joyfully dance emptiness and intrinsic awareness. Well, that was a beautiful message from Claire Heartsong. Now we have an introduction from Catherine Anne, written in January 2010. I feel honoured and I am most grateful for the privilege to have been intimately involved in the unfolding of this sequel. It is not a place that I ever imagined I would be. What is ours to do in life sometimes comes completely out of left field, as was the case with me. I first heard about the book Anna, Grandmother of Jesus, in the summer of 2004 from a teacher of an advanced DNA healing workshop I was taking in, I do not know how to pronounce this. I will put it on the screen. Coeur d'Alene in Idaho. I'm so sorry for Americans. I'm Australian and I'm apologize. This teacher, who never had mentioned any particular books before, told us how Claire's book was the best book she read in a long time. When I returned to Portland, Oregon, after the workshop, I bought the book and read it that summer. Like many of you, I had a strong resonance with the book. Anna's story and her version of the Christ drama definitely rang true for me, unlike anything I'd ever read before. What really piqued my interest, however, was Claire's account in the last chapter of her meeting with the Master Saint Germain. I had had a similar experience with a master in the spring of 1982, whom I later discovered was also Saint Germain. After reading the Anna book, I emailed Claire asking her if she'd be willing to share with me in more detail the story of her encounter with him. At that time, in 2004, I did not hear back from Claire, not that I necessarily expected that I would. However, the connection had been made. Through an unbelievably synchronistic series of events over the next almost 2 years, which I got into more detail about in my own book, Soul Weaving: Keys That Unlock the Treasure of Your Soul, Anna and the Councils of Light from the Other Side of the Veil orchestrated my friend CW and I coming together with Claire to support her in bringing forth the sequel. CW and I suddenly found ourselves relocating from Portland to the Zion National Park area in southern Utah to assist Claire. We thought what we were to do was to take care of Claire's business and personal needs, cooking, cleaning, errands, and such, so that she would be freed up to concentrate on writing the sequel. As Claire had already shared, it turned into much more of a collaborative effort of us working together in accessing the records of these characters' lives and teachings. Sometimes in the sessions, we were completely taken by surprise by who chose to come through and speak to us. As you will notice, it often took a little bit of communication back and forth with the character before their identity was revealed. Working with Anna and the councils were instructed on the protocol for the sessions, how to set the field for the greatest safety, greatest clarity of information to come through, greatest healing, and highest good for all involved. All of our roles became clear, including that of Theo, Claire's Maine Coon cat. Oh, cute. Theo was an important member of the team, holding space for whatever was happening. During the regressions, he usually perched himself on Claire's body, either on her stomach, heart area, or thighs. We knew we could not start a session without Theo. Don't you think animals they play such an important role in our lives, and they're just so special, and especially cats, they protect us, and we think they're just lazily sleeping all day long, but they are doing so much on the spiritual realm for us. They're really, really special. And dogs, they are just here to teach us unconditional love, and compassion and loyalty, which we as a humanity really need help with. So I feel so blessed for my beautiful cat and my beautiful dog. He always showed up when we were ready to start. There was a time or two when we had to call him to come, thinking that we were ready to start. Inevitably, the phone would ring or something else would happen that would delay the start of our session a few minutes. Theo would then nonchalantly come waltzing in right on cue, always with perfect timing, of course. Sometimes I think Theo was the most tuned in one of us all. As the sessions progressed, a curious thing started happening. Before starting any kind of regression with clients, I always had them empty their bladder so there is no bodily interference that could potentially bring someone out of an altered state. After our first few sessions, despite having emptied her bladder, Claire would always have to go to the bathroom within about 10 minutes. Not wanting to bring her up out of the deep state she was in, I would help her up from the couch, take her by the shoulders, and guide her with her eyes still closed through the master bedroom to the bathroom. After assisting her, I would stand in the doorway to make sure that nothing happened to her while she was in this state. I'm sure this need to go to the bathroom was because of many reasons: deep cellular releasing in her body, as well as clearing on a soul level. However, we began to have an inkling that something else was going on as well. What began to happen on these bathroom excursions is that whatever character had come through in the session was still present in Claire's body, would start making comments about this bathroom experience. They, in brackets, through Claire's body, would marvel at things like the toilet paper, stroking it and examining it, for this was not something they held in their time. We finally figured out that word was spreading through the ranks of particularly the female characters coming through. They all wanted to have this experience of the excursion to the bathroom in Claire's world. I just think that is so funny. My favourite was when Martha came through. She squealed with delight as we walked across Claire's oriental carpet into the bedroom, letting me know that it was a familiar sensation as they had had in those times as well. She proceeded with a detailed account, unfortunately not recorded, about the chamber pots they used and her adventures and duties in taking care of them. The cycle of the bathroom visits finally ended when the first man, Nathaniel, came through. And as usual, I led Claire to the bathroom. This time, however, Claire / Nathaniel just sort of reluctantly stood there, not knowing what to do. Finally, in a strong, authoritative voice, I commanded Nathaniel to sit down, as standing up, which was his usual way, was certainly not going to work in this situation. Through these bathroom excursions and other times when the buzzer on Claire's dryer would go off or the answering machine for the phone would come on, I would often have to explain to or reassure the character coming through that it was just some normal occurrence in Claire's world that they didn't have to be concerned about. What became evident through all of these sessions and all of these experiences was that these weren't just characters in a book, but real beings and personalities we were having an exchange with. In some cases, we were not only interacting with them, but helping them to rewrite aspects of their lives. Likewise, they, in turn, were helping us to heal deep soul wounds and expand our beings in a profound way. How absolutely fascinating to just be communicating with these beings from a different time and them wanting to experience going to the bathroom. Oh, it's just hilarious, but so interesting that they get to experience that through her body. It's just, wow. 2 years after the initial material was brought through, the regression sessions we did in Utah in the summer of 2006, Claire revisited the material and expanded upon the foundation of what had come through at that time. With so many different characters, different time periods, and different points of view being presented, we wondered at the purpose of this format and why the writing of the sequel was such a different process to the first book. We wondered how all of these accounts from the different characters were going to come together. Claire and I started to co-creatively tune in, ask questions, and brainstorm about this. I am reminded of our beloved Yeshua's teaching: when two or more are gathered, there I am. Once we started tuning in a co-creative manner, a greater level of understanding and the macrocosmic picture about the Magdalenes' voice and the seeding that was taking place for future generations on all levels, including the physical, started emerging. Through this co-creative process, the deeper mysteries also began to reveal themselves, bringing much insight and greater understanding for both Claire and me about our personal journeys, and initiatory experiences in all of this, our current lifetime. All I can say is that I am most awed and humbled by what has come through. Many of you reading this, although you may not be aware of it, are also part of the Magdalene order. We are the future generation that was held in sacredness and seeded by these characters and others long ago. We are those seeds now reaching maturity. In this maturity, we now awaken once again to our path of service. We no longer need to be bound by lifetimes and layers of vows of silence and secrecy. We now are the collective voice of the Magdalenes who have come to be set free and to fly now in this time. Wow, what an experience it would have been for these ladies to do this together. How amazing. You'd have to be so open-minded. But I'm so grateful that they did go through all of this. It would have been such hard work, fun and, incredibly interesting, but also a lot of hard work. And I'm so grateful that they did. So there are quite a lot of little messages and introductions before we even get into the first chapter. So that will have to be in another episode. So I'm going to read to you now Anna's introduction to Claire. For you, Claire, I suggest the following. Prepare this space to be a sanctuary of serenity, a space dedicated to the purpose of birthing the book that is about to commence, a sanctuary from the world and those vibrations that pull you down and obscure your light. The truth of who you truly are. R is ARE in capitals. You have traveled long on this path, and it is unseemly to miss the mark that is plainly before you. Look not outwardly for excuses, for there are none to be found. Now that you have set your affairs in order and the means are splendidly provided for the work to go forward, it is for you to simply choose to take affirmative and humble action. You have done well in accomplishing this, and the research you have done concerning the Romans in Gaul and Britain has placed you in an advantageous position to receive the impressions that will arise within your mind. These can now be translated into word, pictures, and energy transmissions, appropriate for this advanced undertaking. It shall be a work in many ways unlike that which was its precedent, but it shall also be an instrument of awakening and a clarion missile sent unto those with ears to hear this added portion. I have long held the memories of my life in France and Britain close to my heart. I have long awaited this turning of the ages for my story's dispersal to my posterity and the family of humankind. It is time to begin the writing process. You are well aware that there are forces of resistance to this message. These resistive forces reside within and all about you. Intrinsic within this work are potent, transformational, and empowering energies that will stir deep cellular and soul memory for every reader. So, if you are drawn to this book and to the first book, when you are reading this, you are literally receiving the transmissions that are basically going to stir up soul memory for you. So if when reading this book you become emotional like I have, even on camera, and memories are activated within you, that is all part of this process and part of the purpose of this work. So memory that has long been suppressed shall arise and be given a voice. For some, the voice most clearly heard will be the cry of the abandoned feminine, held in abeyance and subservience to the unbalanced masculine. In truth, however, the uniting voice of the Christ Magdalene takes a stand for the ultimate freedom of both men and women to embrace one another in equanimity. For others, the resounding echoes of holy war, clashing in mutinous betrayal of the divinity of life, will grind against still bitter and grieving hearts. A wellspring of forgiveness and compassion may arise to dissolve all cause for war within self and perceived other. Some will come seeking Mary Magdalene and her children. And for these, a new way of seeing and feeling is required in order to enter her mystery. On a more subtle level, Christ Magdalene initiates may hear the voice of the beloved and receive a further quickening of their very blood in order to transmute deeper regions of fear, the source of separation. And then beyond the stories and words themselves, it is also possible for those with eyes to see and ears to hear to receive the pervading infinite light frequencies. Many there shall be who will remember who they are and why they are here at this time, at this very time when so much is astir. This work will facilitate preparedness and allowance of inevitable planetary change, as the watchword "all is one" is given utterance by the souls choosing to establish an ascended reality of peace and harmony, excluding no form of life from its natural birthright. This message is being created interdimensionally in order to empower synchronistic moments of realization for every soul within all lands, who is calling forth the Divine Mother's comforting words and loving presence. As with the previous book, this is an initiatory process of internal and external alchemy. And so it is that there is a necessity for the various dynamics of polarity within duality to be acknowledged and appropriately balanced into empowered expression. In this way, the energy of transformation may be felt first within yourself as you integrate the communication through the veils, and then the empowerment may extend to all who would likewise choose the peace that passeth understanding. I am with you continually, and though there will be interruptions from time to time in the course of the writing, we shall easily pick up the storyline with its attendant multidimensional energies and perspectives. May you, dear Claire, find deep peace, joy, and liberation as your souls heal through all time and space. May all beings likewise benefit from your accumulated merit and committed devotion to bringing forth a greater light. So be it. Now, this is Anna's introduction for all of us. So, Claire shared her personal introduction from Anna to her. And I believe that's beautiful that she wanted to share that with us. And it's also just showing some transparency as well, which is, she didn't have to do that. So, credit to her. So, Anna's introduction to us, the readers. Greetings, my beloved friend. I am Anna. Once again, I am with you, as you have asked of me, so I freely give. You may have already read of my life that leads to this sharing, and it is all right if you are not familiar with me or my long life's journey. The story I am about to tell you can stand on its own if you wish. However, in order to acquaint yourself with my manner of speaking and to have a context for the characters' lives that continue in this telling, I encourage you to partake of the substance of the published book, Anna, Grandmother of Jesus. Within this book, I weave the tapestry of energy and details about my experiences as a physical immortal from the time of my birth in Judea in 612 BC to my arrival in southern France 3 years after my grandson Yeshua's crucifixion and resurrection. This sequel shall take you to my last years in Britain. I am mindful that you have been stretched by the many revelations I have shared with you about my self-mastery initiations. For it was through these experiences that I was prepared to be the mother of Mary Anna, Mother Mary, and the grandmother of Yeshua, Jesus. I have also shared detailed accounts of my family and our community of Essenes who supported and enacted the Christ drama in what is termed the Holy Land. As I share my remaining story with you, will realize that what began long ago continues uninterrupted, although it has assumed other labels and taken other venues. A few among us who walked in Palestine, Britain, and France demonstrated how to transmute the cycles of human suffering and thus escape humanity's self-imposed prison. I come forth now so that you may hear the suppressed voices of the Magdalenes, the women and men who walked with Yeshua, who know of the way of resurrection and eternal life. For this purpose, I now reveal what has long been hidden. My words are multifaceted in their design. They are sourced from cosmic realms. Interdimensional energies are couched within and between the phrases I communicate to your mind. I am an emissary of the Mother Divine, and I am closer than you may think. For purposes as yet unknown by the majority of mankind, I have come because you have called me forth to walk at your side. In the course of hearing these words and the love frequencies within them, you are invited to take the steps that may bring you closer to your Mother, Father, Creator, your beloved on high, who patiently awaits you within this moment beyond the illusion of time and mental concepts. Know this, my friend, what I share with you is to be discerned through your own spirit's knowing, supported by your rational mind. Question what is given, weigh it within your mind and heart. Nurture only those seeds that increase joy and peace in the living memory of your life. My intent is to expand consciousness through wisdom born of clarity and love. Though filtered through my scribe, you may use the frequencies and the multi-leveled messages pervading my words as a key to open your own book of life. If you choose to enter the Hall of Records, the Acacia of Mother Earth, you may meet me as one of your guides. Oh, that would be amazing. And for anybody that is interested in practicing accessing the Akashic Records, I do have a meditation on my channel, which I will link in the description below. And it's just a short one, and I am planning on making a more expanded one, but the short one's just good to just practice to get started. While this is the more direct path into wisdom's sure knowing, let it be known that I honour and respect those who are led to the inarguable physical remnants we sealed up to be found in the ripeness of time. Please attune to your own soul's awakening to greater loving kindness by whatever methods work for you within your relationships and daily life. Doing so is far more important than getting lost in the rambling details of my story or labouring with doubt over the controversial secrets we cautiously reveal. What is shared is a heresy that goes against the grain of unquestioned tradition and the truths held within conditioned mind. Find the liberating essence of love and wisdom woven through my words. To prove or disprove, to argue and contend is a waste of precious time. Contention is not my way. Awakening to our infinite nature is. There is more to be accomplished than to fabricate another history or grail romance, whether based in truth or fiction, which distracts you from the true enlightenment of your mind. And I do agree with her there. May the shroud of silence be lifted. The voice of the Magdalenes rises from the dust. Listen, beloveds, listen, be. Hear the voice in the silence. So that was a beautiful message from Anna. Now we have Mother Mary's, which is Mary Anna's blessing. Mother Mary, in brackets Mary Anna, she says to us, I bid you welcome. I am called Mary Anna by my Essene family. The voice of the great Mother of Life shall be very much present throughout our co-creation, my children. It is not just me who in most minds represent her. I speak as her child, and yet I am also that mother. You are my sisters and my brothers. You are my fathers, my sons and daughters. We share in the mysteries, in the awakenings, in the drinking of the sacred cup of union. We are remembering together for the benefit of all. Some of you walked with me across these lands. You labored in the vineyard of souls and you toiled much. Indeed, you gave all that could give. We have given to life so that there might be a more abundant life for all. This work is our chosen destiny. We take it into our hearts as a gift and a treasure that we cherish above all else upon this plane. We do not see it as a burden. It is as if we lift up a thirsty lamb upon our shoulders and carry it cheerfully across the wilderness to a place where it can receive nurturance and rest. It is our offering to the Father, Mother of life. It is our devotional offering laid out upon the altar of our hearts for the upliftment of all who thirst and hunger for the living light. This has always been my way, and you know that, and I thank you for entering into this way once again. My son is so very close at hand. Others of the family are close as well. We are indeed gathering. For this I rejoice. There are precious ones coming from all quadrants of this earth. They are gathering into the high places and into the low places, into the places of wilderness and into the places that are heavily populated. There is no place on this earth that is not being reached by the Christ Magdalene voice. Within this clarion call is an invitation to awaken and enter into the embrace of the Mother Divine and the beloved Father who sent her. She has come home to bring her children home into the infinite light of oneness. Within her silent heart is the great peace known beyond the understanding of words. I am your mother, you are my children, I bid you adieu. And now there is a blessing from Yeshua. And there's another beautiful picture that Claire Heartsong has drawn of Yeshua holding a little lamb. Jesus, in brackets Yeshua, and he says to us, I am your brother and beloved friend. I am called by my family in the Aramaic language Yeshua. I am gathering myself for this meeting as I gathered levels of my consciousness in the years after passing through the portal of crucifixion and resurrection. I do this in order to appear unto my brethren and my sisters on every land across all timelines and dimensions. There are many mysteries and many misunderstandings concerning my life, my work, and my relationships. For the purpose of this story, I blend my voice with the voices of those with whom I walked 2,000 years ago. Among these, there were those who knew me in my body of flesh, and those who knew me in my transmuted body of immortal light. For it was after my crucifixion that I attained a full enlightenment of my physical and subtle bodies. I became what may be called light anointed or Christed. I realized myself as a Christ, a teacher of righteousness among my Essene family, just as Gautama himself realized himself as a Buddha within his culture. I tarried upon the earth plane for 40 more years, continuing the work I had begun earlier. During the time referred to in this sequel story, however, my service to humanity was accomplished in more subtle ways. When I came forth after the resurrection, I presented myself in a variety of forms so as to be able to walk unhindered among humanity. For the most part, I brought little attention to myself. Even now, as in those days, I move unnoticed among my brothers and my sisters. For souls who are ready to behold me, whether in or out of form, my frequency is recognized, and together we have communion. I often present myself in the fashion in which I have been known, as son, brother, uncle, husband, or father, as a guide and friend. Sometimes I appear a bit older, sometimes quite young, and sometimes even as a child. I am known for my sense of lightness and humour. There are times I present myself in a tangible body, yet a body that indeed exudes a good deal of energy and light. In equanimity with all forms of life, I have also come forth in more subtle forms, such as the wind or a body of water, as various animals, birds, or insects, or the essence of trees and flowers. Sometimes I come forth as a beam or orb of light. Most often, I simply share my presence as a vibration, which quickens the heart in the manner in which the Holy Spirit is known, neither being neither male nor female, being both unified and whole. I'm actually getting butterflies in my stomach while I'm reading this. For anyone who has the capacity to behold me fully, who can withstand and merge with my intense energy field, there is an exquisite blending in which we may know the rapture of divine union beyond time and form. In the deep communion, we exalt the glory, the Father, Mother, birther of life. It was in this way of tantric alchemy that I came unto my beloveds, the Magdalenes, who knew me as their husband. I spent many years while my beloveds were yet in flesh, walking in the areas you call Britain, France, and Eastern Europe. Often we remove ourselves from the world and resided in caves where we deepened our alchemical practices and ascended our frequencies. It was within such womb-like caves in Europe and in the Middle and Far East where most of my children were light conceived. So there you go. He did continue his line through light conception. Although we would take journeys in our bodies of light to other places and planes of existence, the choice was to have our presence anchored in these particular areas of the earth for quite a long season. When all was accomplished, I departed to the Himalayas, which became my primary focus for attaining further cosmic levels of ascension. My beloveds joined me there at the end of my days. In extended retreat, we together entered the deepest levels of high alchemy for the benefit of all beings existing in all the times and realms. I retrained a measure of physicality right up to the moment in which my last conscious breath left my etherealized lungs, while sitting in the posture of equipoise with omniscient awareness. My immortal body of light rose through the crown of my skull and merged with all, the great emptiness beyond the central sun. With my Magdalene as witness, I let go my earthly tabernacle. My residual elemental form was laid to rest within a remote mountain cave where a radiation of cosmic light continues. Did I assist in the conception of children? I say to you, yea, this is true. It is also true that my intention was never to establish a dynastic lineage to rule the sons and daughters of humankind. Neither was this the intention of the beloveds who bore my seed in their wombs. Indeed, the whole of humanity is my family, seeded with my Father's light. You are remembering that within your blood is hidden the light codes of the Christ, which, when awakened, may guide your way home. Kneeling before the Father Mother who birthed you, you may receive the anointing elixirs and awaken your true nature, realizing yourself as a son sun of God, the light of the world. My signature vibration permeates my grandmother's first book, and there shall be an added measure in this sequel. This may be felt as a comforting presence for those who call me forth. And I say to you, my beloved, do call me forth. Again, I say, I invite you to call me forth as your beloved friend. You have thought me to be separate and distant from you. I say unto you, I am here, and you can come into my arms. If you wish, at any time of your choosing, we can enter into a meditative space where we can meet and know the presence of love. Oh, what a beautiful message from Yeshua. Now he offers a guided meditation. So if you would like to follow along with me, you can just listen, or if you're in a space where maybe you can sit or lay down and close your eyes, whatever works for you. The breath of oneness. Imagine me as a dear friend or as an orb of golden light, coming to meet you face to face. A radiant golden sphere of light surrounds us. Within this calm and illumined space, we breathe the breath of life. I invite you to slowly and gently breathe with me. Join your breath with mine. Simply breathe. Exhale. Send any tension and weariness into a light or a flame, as you may imagine it, inside my heart. See my heart flame growing brighter with every breath you breathe. Now audibly sigh. Ah. Inhale. Breathe in my eternal light. Breathe in my eternal love. Breathe in my peace. Exhale. I breathe in any pain you may be feeling. It's all right. Audibly sigh. Inhale. Feel the warmth of my love expanding your heart, igniting your heart flame. I send you my love and my peace upon the wings of my breath. Breathe in peace. Exhale. I breathe in your pain, all the suffering of your body, mind, and spirit. Give me all your burdens, and I shall make them light. Inhale. My peace I give unto you. Exhale. Imagine your sufferings like a moth, flying into the crucible of my heart. See your grief, anger, and fear transmute into golden light. A new dawn arises. Inhale. I am the resurrection and the life. Breathe with me again. Remember the Christ within. We breathe the breath of life, my beloved friend. Softly breathe. Rest in the stillness of the great silence. Simply be aware of your breathing. Nothing to do but follow your breath. Just come back to your gentle breathing. Become aware of the breath within the breath, flowing freely with each deep inhalation and exhalation. Breathe in the infinite light and love. Receive me into your sacred heart. Relax. Allow your heart to smile. The stone of separation rolls back from your heart. The Son of God calls forth the entombed Christ lying within. Come forth, awaken and arise. I say unto you, peace, peace, peace. Allow the quickening of light within every cell. Allow the falling away of what no longer serves you. Breathe sweet peace into every cell. Come into the light. Come away from the tomb of ignorance. Come with me to the pure lands and forgive that which dies and is dead. Gather up your fragmented self and place it all within the comforting womb of your Christ Magdalene heart, the infinite heart of compassion. Let the Christ child grow within you. With each breath, receive renewed vitality, every cell resurrecting. Deeply breathe. Become aware of the golden orb of light that surrounds us. Allow the form of your human body to be the Son of God. Be the infinite light. Come home to the Father, Mother of your being. Let go of your identity in flesh and merge with me into a greater light, beyond all light, beyond all forms. Breathe, relax, simply be. My breath is your breath. The beating of my heart is the beating of your heart. My body is your body. Self and other are merged in divine union. Bride, groom and bride, Christ and Magdalene, one life. Now knowing the oneness, feeling compassion for all life, breathe awake your awareness of the suffering of others as being no different from your own. Gently breathe out your gift of love's pure light into your brothers' and sisters' hearts. Gently breathe in and receive their pain as a ball of darkness. Place the black or grey ball of suffering gently inside your Christed heart. Watch as the darkness melts into the light. Every heart glowing, every heart is calmly at peace. Sorry, it's just making me quite emotional. Be not in expectation of change or reward. Simply allow what is to be as it is. This is infinite love. Just know other is yourself. The great perfection. As I know your heart is mine, so it is that the one beyond names continues to breathe the breath of light. Regardless of how many times you may choose to experience this union of souls and heart, this marriage of spirit, let it serve you well, my beloved brother, sister, my beloved Magdalene. Peace be unto you now, within this breath, and unto the end of the world. Be not concerned about the form I may take when next we embrace, for you shall know me as I am. beyond all forms and names. It is for you to choose, and in this way, know yourself as the Christ Magdalene you seek. Lo, I am with you always. Sorry, I don't know why I got so emotional, but that was just really, really beautiful and very touching. And I'm going to make sure I include the chapters. I try to always include the chapter breaks, but I'm going to try and include that for each of these messages. So if you ever want to just listen to this meditation again, you can just skip to that meditation and just listen to that, because that was really beautiful. And at the beginning of the meditation, a little way through, I just started to feel this beautiful kind of peaceful energy flowing through me, which was just lovely. So, okay, now I would just like to share just a couple more chapters with you, and then we're going to end it there. So, I have the three Marys blessing. So there are three Marys which you will come to get to know as we continue on in this book. Myriam of Tyana, Mary of Bethany, and Myriam of Mount Carmel. Together, as one Trinity, we fulfill and reveal what has been held in abeyance for many eons of time. With us comes a company of Magdalenes who also bear witness of the Great Mother and the empowerment of the feminine in men and women. Together we shall lift up that which has been buried and hidden, suppressed underfoot. We shall raise, indeed, our voices as one in harmonious unison, and exude from the centre of our collective heart the fragrance of ascension. Our voice is as one, the voice of the Magdalenes. Each of us speaks for one another. Our merged desire is the healing of the feminine heart and the flowering of this earth, the healing of deserts and the wastelands within souls. Therefore, our vision encompasses men and women walking together as equals, where families, communities, and nations honor differences and similarities, allowing and encouraging everyone to express their infinite potential. We see every soul capable of expressing their intrinsic light and bringing forth the highest forms of creativity, each according to their nature and karmic conditions. We also honor and accept choices of limitation. Although these choices may cause suffering, we also know suffering is a divine expression of the great perfection. Limitation, as an expression of contrast and choice, has within it the infinite potential to be a catalyst for awakening, compassionate healing, and wisdom. Our merged desire is to catalyze and witness the cessation of all forms of suffering while incarnated within our shared human condition. So we come forth as emissaries of the divine, of the Mother Divine, manifesting as the Christ Magdalenes, the physical vessel through which she expresses her power on earth. At this time in your day and age, there is great need to bring the masculine and feminine into balanced union. By this statement, let it be understood that it is never our intention to overpower or cause any aspect of consciousness to become subservient. Ours at this time of great planetary crisis is to restore balance to the technologically based mind, which we see as unbalanced masculine energy. For example, the clear evidence that Mother Earth and her creations are dying from all manner of escalating violence, insensitivity, greed, and pollution. We experience the masculine mind as bereft and devoid of the feminine heart, the ability, for example, to holistically experience the interconnectedness of all life. We see that a greater percentage of the divine feminine is required. This is why you are hearing so many messages and appearances from the Divine Mother, such as those of Mother Mary. This is the reason books are coming forth, such as the one you are now reading. because a greater expression of the divine feminine is what will bring balance and harmony. We come forth as a female trinity with our beloved Yeshua. Together we represent the divine feminine and the divine masculine in harmonious union. As a trinity of three women, we exponentially expand the energy of the divine feminine within ourselves. Then, when we are joined with Yeshua's focusing of the divine masculine at the center, there is the co creation of an encompassing sphere or an alchemical grail cup in which Mother Earth and humanity may be held. With Yeshua joining us as a fourth force, we also co create the strong base of a pyramid, by which we square the circle and stabilize the unbalanced energies presently multiplying at an exponential rate. What I have described as our stabilizing effort, microcosm of a universal quantum process, which for this sharing will not be described in further detail as it is not our intended focus here. Impermanence expressing as planetary change is inevitable. Our desire is to awaken individual choice based on infinite intrinsic potential so that this time of great change may be utilized as an unprecedented catalyst and opportunity for awakening to our individual and collective infinite nature. We are choosing to act as a stabilizing agent for this cyclical birthing dying process. We have shared with you the greater part of our spiritual work within the order of the Magdalene, which, whether great or small in its effect, is done on behalf of humanity. Our work is multi-leveled and not easily understood by the ordinary mind, although it may be dawning within your mind that there was not just one Magdalene, but in fact many Magdalenes. Not just one Mary Magdalene with Yeshua, but three. We know you have questions regarding our personal relationships with each other, our children, and Yeshua. A mystery and secret that is in the process of being partially unveiled and told. There is the ripeness now for bringing to light portions of what has been veiled in oaths of secrecy. Even so, for many, what shall be presented will be difficult to hear, much less to integrate. Therefore, we shall bring forth our stories with great mindfulness. Be at peace, my brothers and sisters. We are the Magdalenes. We carry the gene of Isis to regenerate and bring forth a new Genesis, a new creation and a new Adam and Eve, a new generation, a new world, and a new heaven. And so it is. That is such a powerful message from the three Mary Magdalenes, which you will come to understand what's going on there as we get further into the chapters. Now I would like to just read from Myriam of Tyana Speaks. Lifting the suppressed feminine voice. Myriam of Tyana. I know that you have many questions to ask of me. I understand that I have been quite a mystery package. I am one whose time has come to emerge out of obscurity and to bring light to so much that has been confusing and unnecessarily compromising. I will bring forth my understandings and my perceptions as best I can through the octaves of light and through this instrument. However, know this, my dears, this one who is speaking cannot be limited by name or feature of presence in one singular embodiment, for I am much more. I shall introduce you to my relationship with my beloved Yeshua and my function therein. My children shall be introduced. I will also speak of my spiritual work with the Magdalenes, both women and men, and how we create an alchemical cup with Yeshua, in which to transmute fear-based consciousness and assist the liberated energy to express as harmony and loving kindness. I join with the others who will speak of those times when we removed ourselves from the world, how we sealed ourselves up in caves and climbed to the high places, where we practiced the resurrection and conception practices known to the Magdalene order, we who are the daughters and sons of Isis, a name for the great mother. We shall share a portion of that which has been hidden and allow the remainder to rest as seeds in the ground of consciousness until there is a readiness for more. There is wisdom, there is so much conditioned fear. It is best to give more light only when there is true receptivity and benefit. I say to you again, it is time now for the fear that has closed our voices to be laid to rest, for those who have been silenced to speak at last. May all beings hear the mother's gentle voice before she is required to use a much louder one. May all beings experience the ultimate liberation within and beyond form. May all beings know peace. May all suffering cease. Amen and amen. Now for the benefit of all beings. The opening of the mouth. In oneness with our Christ Magdalene sisters and brothers, and with the councils of light under the auspices of the Divine Mother, Father, we wish to initiate what the Egyptian alchemists call the opening of the mouth. It is time for what has been silenced to be heard. It is enough. It is enough. It is enough. A note from the authors. Claire, so that you may know the power behind Myriam of Tyana's words, I would like to share the experience I had following her initiating the opening of the mouth. Inseparable from the need for awakening and healing consciousness of its wounds of separation, I have come to believe that there is a collective wound that involves a sense of verbal restraint and not feeling heard. This wound abides on personal and universal levels. The basic personal core wound no doubt has its origin in not feeling met and heard as a child. But this inner child wound can be excavated as an adult when a more collectively agreed silencing occurs. On the personal level, as an adult, this communication wound involves being silenced, either by personal choice or by an outer authority. On the one hand, choosing to take vows of silence and perhaps not being able to relinquish the vows for any number of reasons. And on the other hand, being externally forced to be silent. On a more universal level, the communication wound may appear as the silencing of the still voice, the voice of the Great Mother or the Divine Feminine. This wound shows up for everyone, deafened by ordinary conditioned consciousness, because the veil of perceived separation makes subtle spiritual frequencies very difficult to hear. It also shows up in patriarchal and male-dominated cultures that censor women, societies that are indifferent, belittling, or hostile towards females generally, and towards all kinds of feminine expression, specifically in both women and men. In Myriam's facilitation of the opening of the mouth, she is initiating the opening of all voices on a personal level, giving everyone the freedom to speak if they choose to do so. On a universal level, Myriam, in concert with the Great Mother, transmit an energy that opens closed inner ears so that the Mother's voice can be heard, a voice that carries the frequency of universal awakening and healing into wholeness/oneness. In my case, immediately and abruptly after Myriam's presence departed, as I was lying on the couch in the process of returning to ordinary consciousness, I suddenly became aware of a very large energy field seeming to approach me from behind. I sensed this energy, what I have come to understand as a spontaneous rising of Kundalini, to be the magnitude of a tidal wave. Instantly, the energy ascended from the base of my spine to the crown of my head. It force lifted me very quickly into a sitting position, causing my neck to whiplash. Before I could consciously censor it, a shattering scream came out of my throat. It seemed to express the collective anguish, grief, and rage of all beings whose voices, beingness, have been silenced through time. To say that I was acting as a proxy for all beings may be an exaggeration, but nevertheless, the force that flowed through me was very real and very intense. It was as if an ancient gag had been removed from my mouth and a damned energy was released. I fell back on the couch, stunned. The pain in my neck was severe, and the injury took a full year to heal. Goodness. It has been explained that my body and chakras were requiring further clearing, and that the degree of resistance on the physical and etheric levels in relation to the force of the rising Kundalini resulted in the severe muscle and ligament tears and strain. Whew, that's not very good. It kind of confuses me sometimes how when people go through spiritual awakenings as to why it needs to be like that. Why does it need to be painful if it's for our highest good? But not sure. Myriam's words became very real and accessible in Catherine Ann's and my immediate daily experiences. We looked deeply into how we were holding on to ancient vows of silence, and I think all of us are. We became increasingly aware of how we have misinterpreted current life experiences that still trigger fear about expressing our truth. All the ways in which we, especially as women, feel silenced by internal and external suggestions and conditions. This opening of my throat chakra, the seat of empowered communication and creativity, has provided me with greater clarity and power in speaking and listening. This has been true in bringing through and completing Anna's sequel, as well as enhancing mindful, open communication in my personal life and relationships. Catherine Ann. Claire's sudden and forceful bolting upright and the ensuing scream that emerged through her was profoundly unnerving. Of course, I was very concerned and bewildered at this, as I thought she had pretty much returned to her waking consciousness state and had come out of the session. Usually, when I work with clients, if there is any agitation during a session, I assist the person and their energy to come into a harmonious resolution as best it can be before completing the session. In this case, there was no indication of any strong, overwhelming emotion during the session. Albeit when Myriam of Tyana spoke, it is enough. 3 times it was expressed with great intensity. The scream seemed to come out of nowhere. Later, we gained a greater perspective in terms of a synchronistic event in Anna's life that came to light in later sessions, and the understanding that Claire, in a sense, was being the conduit through which the collective, locked Magdalene voice was finally breaking free of its long history of persecution and need for secrecy. This was a contract that Claire, and no doubt others, had made on a soul level. Although Anna later communicated to her that it needn't necessarily have been to the degree where injury occurred, it was how the resistance unfolded in her body. From a larger perspective, I think this occurrence helped create an opening in the fields of consciousness, not only for the voices of the Magdalene in the sequel to come forth more powerfully, but for the voice of the divine feminine to be felt, heard, honored, and expressed more fully now in our time, in both men and women. Still feeling a little bit red flaggy about that, but anyways. And I'm going to leave it there for this episode because, wow, I think it's been over an hour anyway. So I'm going to leave it there. In the next episode, we are going to read part 1, The Magdalenes Speak, Lifting the Vow of Silence, Secrets Revealed, France, Samaria, India, Egypt, AD 14 to 38. So I think that's all I've read actually, is part 1. So that's going to be interesting. And then continuing on to the other parts will be very exciting, and we can go on this journey together. I really hope you are enjoying this. Please like and comment below to let me know what you think. And, if anybody that you know might be interested in this, please share it with them. And so we can get this knowledge out there and help people to awaken their own memories, their soul memory, cellular memory, and awaken the Christ consciousness so that we can help make this world a better place, because Mother Earth really needs all the help that she can get at this point. At least that's my personal opinion. Anyways, thank you so much for joining me today, and I will see you next time. Bye.